That's Well, Gemar Chatima Tova, everyone. May you all be inscribed for a year of joy and fulfillment, and may this year be one of health and happiness and peace. Yom Kippur has come once again. We stand together this day amidst community and friends, family, and the family that we build for ourselves. We stand in a sacred chain of tradition that extends behind us and before us. Our tradition refers to this day as the Sabbath of Sabbaths. As we learn from Rabbi Heschel, our goal is to create a palace in time. We are linked together in this palace, in this time, to do just that, to reach outward to the majesty that exists beyond us, and to reach out to those who we love with the power of connection, and to reach within to find the beauty and the godliness that exists when we can hear our still small voice. May this be a time of introspection and renewal, as we pause from the daily toil, as we set our paths anew and journey together into the year that awaits us. As has become our custom, we have the pleasure of hearing from our temple's president, Brent Arnold. And Brent has, with great sensitivity and vision and patience, helped us to transcend the challenges of these COVID years. Perhaps we can call these years something else someday. When we look back, because COVID hasn't been what's defined Brent's presidency. Rather, there has been perseverance and innovation. There's been renewal and a strong commitment to our Jewish future. His work and the work of all of our synagogue's leadership, committee, chairs, and volunteers ensure that Congregation Shalom will remain the strong and vibrant and sacred place that we all hold dear in our hearts. And Brent, we are all grateful for the energy and passion you put towards this holy work. So it's now a joy to call upon our president, Brent Arnold, who will ascend to the bima, and he has the opportunity to share with you the business of the synagogue. And when he's done, we'll turn to the worship that our synagogue will do together. Gemar Chatima Tova, Brent.
Well, thank you very much, Rabbi. Shana Tova to all our wonderful congregants. I hope you were able to take some quiet time recently to do some inner reflecting. For me, it was also really difficult to see the complete devastation from Hurricane Ian last week. People's entire lives were completely destroyed and entire neighborhoods flooded or simply just washed away. These very difficult images and stories remind me of how important community is and how important it is to help out one another. Congregation Shalom is very fortunate to have such a great community. We are blessed to have such an exceptional group of our clergy and staff. Rabbi Noah has continued to lead our community through times of challenge and brought great comfort to all our congregants. He is always filled with great words of encouragement and influences our students to always reach their aspirations. Thank you, Rabbi Noah, for providing such strong rabbinic guidance to our congregation. We have also had the blessing of our cantor Perper providing our congregation with tremendous musical talent. He does an incredible job of bringing the notes to every prayer to touch our souls. His concerts this year were a huge hit and a lot of fun. He has also done a phenomenal job of working with our wonderful pianist and organ player, Paul Caston, as well as working with our very, very talented Shalom choir over there. Thank you all for bringing such beauty and harmony to all of our services. Rabbi Pozlowski has also done a great job of integrating herself into our Shalom community. She has provided rabbinic inspiration to our youngest congregants, and when needed, has really excelled to lead our services and Torah study sessions. We are also very lucky to have our Rabbi Emeritus, Ron Shapiro, and Cantor Emerita, Karen Berman, still with us to step in whenever requested. The influence you have both had on our congregation is simply immeasurable and very much appreciated for so many years. It is really special from time to time to see you each back up here on the bima. Our Director of Lifelong Learning, Brian Avner, has done a really incredible job with our education program. Coming out of this pandemic, Brian has really enhanced our youth religious school programs, and it has really shown with the numbers in our school program, as well as the energy within the school. Brian has also organized our adult educational programming and made sure that we have the very best teachers providing lasting impressions on our youngest students. Thanks to Brian and all of our wonderful teachers and educators for doing such a wonderful job. This includes the incredibly enthusiastic Miss Wendy Cohn for teaching our kids with such great fun music, as well as Mandy Winky for organizing all of our school needs. Our executive director, Linda Holyfield, has been working so passionately to make sure the synagogue runs efficiently and operates in a way that can best fit the needs of all of our congregants. Linda's tireless time commitment to the synagogue and to our board is very much appreciated. Linda also has assembled a magnificent office staff in Amy Kahn, Andrea Gaddy, Heather Watson, Laurel Rose, and Meredith Canner. Our maintenance staff, Jacob and Ben, also do a great job of making sure that this building is ready each day for the next daily planned event. I'm also excited for you to meet our new kitchen manager, Natasha Lamson. She is really great. If you like food, you will definitely like her. And we have a lot of upcoming holiday meals coming up, but I probably shouldn't be talking about food right now on Yom Kippur. Thanks to all our clergy and staff's efforts for making Congregation Shalom such a special place. I also want to thank all our board members for all the great work they are doing here at Shalom. Our membership committee recently hosted a wonderful new member welcome event. We have seen a nice uptick in membership this year and are welcoming everyone to get engaged in what we are doing here. Our social action committee recently sorted food at the new Hunger Task Force facility and has another sort scheduled for October 15th. Our Voices for Justice Committee organized a Tikkun Olam Shabbat where our congregants were educated on the lead poisoning problems right here in the city of Milwaukee. Our Vice President, Steve Wallace, has also been very busy working on a culture of philanthropy plan to imagine what our congregational education facilities could look like in the future. We are also in the planning stages of a new leadership training program for our congregants to learn more about all the leadership opportunities here at Shalom and to find ways to become more involved in our community actions. A list of all of our committees are all up on our website, www.cong-shalom.org, along with who you can reach out to in order to participate. Our ONG student tutoring program is also reimagining itself and would love to get more volunteers involved in helping tutor these impressionable students. Congregation Shalom is such a caring community with so many different things going on. We are also in search for a new full-time staff for event planning and membership engagement. If you know someone who would be a good fit, please let Linda Holyfield know. Lastly, I want to say how good it is to be back here with all of you in this holy space. Nothing replaces the sound of all of us praying together in one unified voice. We are so lucky to have this beautiful setting to worship in. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to improve your Shalom experience. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for our Yom Kippur morning and afternoon services, as well as the study session. Also, this Sunday night, join us for Sukkot and Pizza in the Hut. And then the following Sunday evening on October 16th, we welcome you back for Simchat Torah and a congregational dinner starting at 5 o'clock p.m. Gamar Hatima Tova. May this year be a good year for you, for your families, and for our Shalom community. Shana Tova.
Thank you so much, Brent, not only for those words, but for the leadership you bring to our congregation. It's now a privilege to invite Susie Rosengarten to lead us in the kindling of our Yontif candles on page 9. And Susie's one of our finest teachers here at Congregation Shalom, and through her involvement in our sisterhood, the Milwaukee Jewish Federation, being on our board, what don't you do, Susie? You are also just an extraordinarily kind human being, and she brings light to so many within our community. So appropriate then that she honors us by kindling the light of our Yontif candles, which can be found on page 9.
The human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness. On this atonement night, we give thanks for love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur.
Let's all sing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim.
Please rise now for the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higyanu lazman hazeh.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time. You may be seated. Rabbi Richard Levy of blessed memory wrote, "Prayer of ancient origins in mystic chant, protecting us since ancient times from impulsive oaths, pouring forth tradition has supposed from the anguished lips of secret Jews. Long ago, in one forbidding land after another, our mothers masqueraded in a faith forced on them by tyrants. Our fathers prayed from their cellars that God would annul their alien vows and help them find the hard way back to their ancestral truth. Kol Nidre reminds us, who do not have to hide, how many fearful cellars we inhabit, that close us off from full acceptance of the Jewish faith, that muffle our acceptance of our parents' pledge at Sinai. Forced on them by no one, freely made in the sunlight of the day, now at nightfall, may we hear within the mystic chant the hidden origins of our birth into the Jewish people, and may we be protected from every impulse to betray our heritage, to masquerade as someone who we never were and cannot be. Prayer of ancient anguish, let it form our lips into the anguish of the Jew we have not dared to be. Let its painful stains seize hold of our inconsonant hearts till tears of grief pour forth for all the alien vows we've sworn, for all the hard ancestral truths we've casually denied, for all we've turned our backs to since our faith began, what lies within the cellars of our souls tonight. O hidden origins, O mystic chant, O Kol Nidre. We turn now to what has always been a profoundly moving part of our Yom Kippur services, to call upon Mark Berman and his quartet to guide us in musical meditation. The haunting music of Kol Nidre is made more holy by the knowledge that it is offered by such truly magnificent artists. This is the 59th year that we've had the privilege to marvel at your artistry, Mark, and it is a very special gift that you give to us. Thank you to you and the wonderful musicians that accompany you. We meditate now on the powerful music of Kol Nidre. Thank you, Mark. And to all of our musicians for so beautifully portraying the music of Kol Nidre. Atonement Day has come, and as we prepare ourselves for the Kol Nidre as is chanted and read, we have the privilege of calling upon Paul and Judy Joseph to lead us in the reflection as we enter the gates of Teshuva on page 14.
Opening the ark, opening ourselves. Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidre is sacred portal, a night of deep emotions, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling.
We rejoice at the sound of Kol Nidre, rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God we failed to keep.
We tremble at the melody, music of spiritual amazement. It fills us with awe as we stand before God in Torah.
We rejoice that we stand together, strengthened by community in this hour of shared weakness and humility.
We tremble, for tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge a power far beyond our understanding.
We rejoice that we commit ourselves to great endeavors because we feel so deeply and think so nobly.
We tremble, for we find that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might.
We rejoice in the freedom that is Kol Nidre's true gift, the freedom to begin a new year without fear of failure, to aspire to be God's image in the world.
We tremble because we are mortal. We rejoice in our gratitude for life.
We rejoice with trembling and enter Kol Nidre to face our humanity.
Thank you, Paul and Judy. We now call on with joy Rabbi Sherry Shama and Jody Margolis to come forward and open up our ark doors as we turn to page 16 and rise as our Torah scrolls now enter into our midst. With one voice, assembled sages, past and present, declare, all may pray as one on this night of repentance. Let none be excluded from our community of prayer. With one voice, God and congregation proclaim, all may pray as one on this day of return. Let all find a place in this sacred assembly.
בשבעה של מעלה ובשבעה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים.
Please turn to page 18 for Kol Nidre.
Kol Nidre ve'esarei v'charamei v'konamei v'chinuyei v'kinusei Shavuot. Tevana ude'acharimna dindarna Tevana V'tiyasarna Yom Kippurim zeh ad Yom Kippurim Icharatna v'hon Yehon Sharon. Betelin umevutalin. Nidrana la nidre. Shavuatana la
We read together at the bottom of page 20. Give us the strength to keep our promises, the sacred vows of partners in marriage, the promises of love and care between parents and children, the promises of duty between citizens and country, the oaths of doctors, the sacred trust of teachers. Give us the strength to keep our promises to our friends and colleagues, to those who live with us and depend on us, to those who work for us and those for whom we work, to those who pray with us and those for whom we pray, to those we love and those we serve. Give us the courage to keep our promises to ourselves, to one another, and to future generations. We continue on page 20. All shall be forgiven. The entire community of Israel and the stranger who lives in their midst, for all have gone astray in error. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love.
B'sham nehemar, Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha.
And God responded, I forgive as you have asked. We continue on page 22. Rabbi Judah ben Samuel taught, chant your supplications to God in a melody that makes the heart weep. and your praises of God in one that will make it sing. Thus you will be filled with love and joy for the one who sees the heart. We turn now to the call to prayer.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Please read with me in the Hebrew on page 24. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtsono Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, uma'avdil ben yom uvein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, creator of twilight and dusk. Please turn to page 26. We read together. Love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people Israel. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. For you are blessed, the one who loves your people, Yisrael. We turn now to page 28 for the watchword of our faith, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto.
Please be seated as we continue on page 30.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 39. We read responsively on page 39. Our sages taught it is proper to mention the exodus from Egypt in our morning prayers and also at night.
We celebrate the going out from Egypt in the morning light, full of confidence and vigor as we enter the new day.
But in the evening, weary from the day's exertions, cast down and fearful at the coming of the night, what can the exodus teach us then?
Our nighttime prayer brings hope and trust in the future, as God did not abandon our people long ago through the long, dark night of exile. So the Holy One will be with us in time to come, to stand by the one you love, that is the true essence of faithfulness, the meaning of emunah.
So it is written in the Psalms, to proclaim your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness in the nights.
Sing with joy in the mornings of your life, when light surrounds you and the world seems beautiful and good. And in the evenings of your life, when you dwell in sorrow and the world seems dark, do not despair. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha netar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u v'hanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We turn to page 42. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives, be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now until the end of time. We read together, Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, Ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem. We continue on page 45 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach rutei ve'yamlich malchutei Bechayechon uve'yomechon uve'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael Bahagala uvizman kariv ve'imeru Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam le'alamei alamaya. ויתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ויאמרו Amen.
We now rise for the Tefilah on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim vekonei hakol vezocher chasdei avot ve'imahot umevi geula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei hakol Atah Rav le'Hoshia Morid hatal Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofei cholim Umatir asurim Umekayem emunato Lishenei afar Michamolcha ba'al givurot U'mido melach Melech memit u'mechayeh U'matzmiach Yeshua Michamocha הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We turn to page 53. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day. Selah. Please be seated as we turn to page 63. We read responsively. Like smoke above the altar, may a memory of us ascend and come before you.
As Israel once came to you with offerings from the flock, so we bring to you the offerings of our mouth, not lip service, but heartfelt prayer.
So the prophet taught, "Return, O Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to Adonai."
Accept the words we set before you, awkward and imperfect as they are, our hesitant questions, our corrosive doubts. Accept, too, our silences, our thoughts that rise in the stillness, our faith that coheres for a fragile instant, then dissipates like smoke above the altar.
Please turn to page 64. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova,
Amen.
ufokdenu vo livracha,
Amen.
v'hoshienu vo lechaim.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. Please turn to page 71. We read responsively. On this night of atonement, grant us, God, a sense of your presence as we call upon your name.
Speak your hopeful message to each yearning heart and answer the worthy petitions of each searching soul.
Purify and strengthen our noble strivings and cleanse us of all our unworthy desires.
Join us together in fellowship and in love, and grant us the joy which comes from enriching our lives.
Help us to be loyal to the heritage which we share. Draw us near to Torah in wisdom and in faith.
Strengthen our devotion to our people everywhere. Keep alive our faith in righteousness and truth.
Bless us with hopes to uplift our daily lives and keep steadfast our courage and our resolve at all times.
On this night of atonement, help us, God, to be worthy of your presence as we call upon your name.
Please turn to page 72 for Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tikabel b'ratzon u'tehi l'ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lecha וכל קוראיו פני אל עבדיך וחוננו. שפוך רוחך עלינו ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון. ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו
We continue on page 74. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Surah chayenu mageni shenu, atahu ledor vador. We read responsively, God who is ours, God of all generations, to you we are forever grateful. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness. Morning, noon, and night, we call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. And for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised, our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe your covenant partners for a life of goodness, and may all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. We turn now to page 78 for the prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon v'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol eit uvechol sha'a bishlomecha. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה נזכה וניכתב לפניך אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל לחיים טובים Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom.
With that prayer for peace in our minds, we now take a moment for a moment of silent meditation. We say the prayer of Vidui to voice our transgressions, to own up to our poor choices. Saying it out loud is the first step of Teshuva, repentance or returning. Before we can start to mend our ways, first we have to name our bad behavior. And we recite it communally. We take responsibility for one another and make sure that all of the sins of the community are atoned for without shaming any individual. In a moment, we will stand and put our right hand over our hearts. And as we list off the sins, we will thump our chests. With each thump, Our hearts break a little more, just as they did when we sinned. Rabbi Laura Geller describes the action as knocking on her heart, cracking it open and making it vulnerable. In this way, it is not just to remind us of the pain we caused ourselves, but to open our hearts to the pain of others. We continue with Vidui on page 82. Please rise. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, tavo lefanecha tefilatenu, v'al titalam mitchinatenu. We read together in the English, our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Ay, 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 ay. Ashamnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, diparnu dolfi, ay, 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 ay. Hevinu, vehirshanu, zadnu, chamasnu, tafalnu shaker, ay, 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 yatsnu ra, kizavnu, latsnu, maradnu, niatsnu, ay, 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 sararnu, avinu, pashanu, tsararnu, Kishinu oref, ay, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Ta'inu, Titanu.
Of these wrongs we are guilty. Together we betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander. We devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey. We abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes. We are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill. We spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. Please be seated. We turn to page 89. With this long confession, Vidui Rabbah, we chronicle in detail the sins that we have committed. These contemporary reflections on the themes of integrity, justice, and love bring home our time-honored Jewish wisdom. We will read together in the English. I'll read Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, and then we'll read together. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, we wrong you when we wrong ourselves. For the failures of integrity, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, together for passing judgment without knowledge of the facts, and for distorting facts to suit our purposes. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, for succumbing in silence to social pressure, and for acquiescing in beliefs we find offensive. Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha, for using others' bad behavior to excuse our own, and for blaming others for our mistakes and poor decisions. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for pretending to emotions we do not feel, and for appealing to be other than what we are. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves, and for tolerating in ourselves the faults we condemn in our parents. Failures of justice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we dishonor you when we dishonor our society. For our failures of justice, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for being indifferent to deprivation and hunger while accepting a culture of self-indulgence and greed. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for abuse of power in boardrooms, courtrooms, and classrooms, and for accepting the neglect of children and elders, the ill and the weak. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for permitting social inequalities to prevail, and for lacking the vision to transcend our selfishness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for glorifying violence and turning hastily to war, and for allowing history to repeat itself. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for behaviors that risk the future of our planet, and for wreaking havoc on our only true inheritance, God's creation. Please turn to page 91. Failures of love. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, we sin against you when we hurt one another. For our failures of love, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for exploiting another for our own pleasure, and for the wounds we cause through betrayal and deception. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for withholding affection from those we claim to love, and for using love to control our spouses and partners, our children and parents. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for abandoning friends and siblings whose love has sustained us, and for neglecting those who love us when they need us most. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for harboring in our relationships mistrust, boredom, and disloyalty, and for rejecting our partner's efforts at repair and renewal. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, for possessiveness, jealousy, and avarice, and for lashing out in anger at those who are closest to us. Help us, Holy One, to follow your ways of integrity, justice, and love. Teach us to seek forgiveness with humility and an open heart. For all these wrongs, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
We sing together. Ve'al kulam ela selichot selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu ve'al kulam ela slichot selach lanu mechalanu selach lanu mechalanu kapelanu.
Please turn to page 98.
Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Hashem, Aleinu, Aleinu. V'kabel berachamim, berachamim, uvratzon, et tefilateinu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha, Hashivenu elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh yameinu, yameinu. Kedem Amareinu Hazina Adonai Bina Hagigenu Yihu l'ratzon imrei finu Vehegyon libeinu lefanecha Adonai tzureinu vegoaleinu Al tashlicheinu milefanecha V'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimena. Al tashlicheinu al tashlicheinu le'et zikna kichlot kolcheinu Al ta'azveinu Adonai Eloheinu Al tirchak mimena Ki lecha Adonai Hochanu Ata ta'aneh Adonai Eloheinu. Shema Kol Aleinu Adonai Eloheinu, chus verachem Aleinu, Aleinu. V'kabel berachamim, berachamim uvratzon et
Please turn to page 100 and read responsively. God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai, you spoke words that guide our lives to this day, but our ancestors lost faith in you, lost hope in their Redeemer. With one voice, they had promised, we will do and obey, and yet, stiff-necked, they broke their word, adoring an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness in that moment of human weakness and doubt. We too have broken promises to you. We too worship the work of our own hands. We too make of gold a god, and we too forsake your word. At Sinai, you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata'a V'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, God, compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, showing mercy to the 1,000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon. On page 101, as parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Yaakov. And you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Sovereign God, show us the way to freedom. Answer us on this day of our calling out to you. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. And God responded, Salachti kidvarecha, I forgive as you have asked. Please turn to page 104. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, we read together, our God and God of our fathers, God of our mothers, do not abandon us, leaving us in shame. Do not dissolve the covenant you made with us. Rather, draw us near to your teaching. Show us your ways and teach us how to live. Let us be open to your love, ready to revere your very being. Cut away the hardness of our hearts, so that we may turn to you with all our heart's devotion, truly repentant. For the sake of your great name, pardon our failures, forgive our moral weaknesses, as in the holy words of your psalmist, Adonai, as befits your name, forgive my sin, no matter how great. Please turn to page 106. Our God and God of our ancestors, we are your people.
And you are our God.
We are your children.
And you are our father, our mother.
We are the people who serve you.
and you call us to serve,
We are your community.
and you are our portion,
We are your legacy.
and you are our purpose,
We are your flock.
and you are our shepherd,
We are your vineyard.
and you watch over us,
We are your work.
and you are our maker,
We are your beloved.
and you are our lover,
We are your treasure.
and you are the one we cherish,
We are your people.
and you reign over us,
We offer you our words.
and you offer us yours. So
So
forgive
forgive
us,
us,
pardon us, lead us to atonement.
ואתה גורא עלינו, אנו צונך ואתה רואינו.
The music of our liturgy enhances our worship in innumerable ways. I am grateful to our choir and to our cantor, to all those who lift us in prayer so magnificently over these holidays. You might notice a change in that the choir is facing out towards the bima. It makes a profound difference. But it's not just that. It's that you have uplifted us with a sense of spirituality on this evening. And truly it is quite something. It's a joy to be able to be lifted in prayer this way. It's now a joy also to call upon Carrie Bilski and Matt O'Malley and Shana and Jake and Ella, who are going to open up our ark doors as we as a community rise as we turn to Avinu Malkeinu, which can be found on page 114. Page 114. Please read the English as I'll read the Hebrew. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Ol Aleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Dever V'Cherev Ve'Ra'av Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt to the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu Kalei Kol Tsar Umastin Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu Malei Yadenu Mibirchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu Harem Keren Mishichecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu Na'al Tashivenu Rekam Milfanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh imanu lema'an shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh lema'ancha im lo lema'anenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu ein lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu petach sha'arei shamayim litfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu shema kolenu chus v'rachem aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu chonenu ve'anenu ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vanenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
You may be seated. Well, Gemar Chatima Tova, everyone. So it came as a surprise to me, and maybe as a surprise to you too, that there is an Israeli superhero named Sabra. Over the past few weeks, this character has caused quite the Twitter storm around the casting of Israeli Shira Haas as the fictional Marvel superhero for an upcoming movie. And in case you're curious, here's the description of the character. Sabra, whose real name is Ruth Bat Seraph, was born near Jerusalem. But after her power manifested, she was raised on a special kibbutz run by the Israeli government. And soon after, she became a police officer in addition to serving as a government agent. Ruth was the first superhero or superhuman agent to serve with the Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service. And it's common knowledge, I believe, that those who are born in Israel are referred to as being a Sabra. And so Ruth Bat Seraph's superpower is based on the Sabra fruit, with a spiny outer surface to protect her from enemies. But as we know of the cliche of Israelis, they're also sweet, like the Sabra fruit's interior. Well, the reaction was somewhat predictable, as the criticism began pouring in and piling on. Besides there being nationalistic representation of several nations within Marvel Comics, Captain America, Red Guardian, Arabian Knight, Captain Britain, and of course, North Star, to name just a few, only Israeli representation was met with immediate condemnation and reproach. Some of the criticism was based on the belief that Israel was an illegitimate nation, undeserving of representation. The most persistent criticism, however, was that the character was insensitive to Palestinians due to her name. The superhero Sabra, it was claimed, was based on the Sabra Shatila massacre, which took place in southern Lebanon by the South Lebanese Army during the Lebanese Civil War, and it is claimed that this massacre took place under the watchful eyes of the Israeli military. One problem, though. The Sabra Shatila massacre took place in 1982, while the character Sabra, the superhero, was created and released in 1981. Never mind the truth, the damage continues to be done. Moments ago, we stood together and confessed our communal sins, our chata'im, the ways in which we missed the mark. On this day, we aren't only judged as individuals, but on this day, all things are judged. The deeds of humanity as a whole are weighed and measured and considered. As a collective, as humanity, our failures are many and our faults are great. But in this world of fault and failures, there is a precious and perhaps all too diminishing commodity that we need desperately, and that commodity is truth, emet. It's a word that should captivate us, for truth is of supreme importance in our tradition and in our lives. For when truth is forfeited for convenient lies and ideological slander, we will all suffer in the end. The controversy over the casting of an Israeli superhero is certainly a trifle, and I suppose of little consequence. But let's talk about other falsehoods that lead to more consequential outcomes. In Prime Minister Lapid's speech to the United Nations, a speech I strongly encourage you to find the time to listen to, he presented an example of the type of slander that Israel must overcome. He shared, last May, the picture of Malak al-Tanani, a 3-year-old Palestinian girl, was published all over the world with the terrible news that she was killed with her parents in an attack by the Israeli Air Force. It was a heartbreaking image. But Malak al-Tanani doesn't exist. The photo was taken from Instagram. It's of a girl from Russia. I can give you thousands more examples of similar fake news about Israel. The anti-Israel movement has been spreading these lies for years in the media, on college campuses, and on social media. The question is not why they do it, but why are you willing to listen? There's little new here. The lies have even lost their ability to shock us, when in recent years Israel has been claimed to harvest the organs of dead Palestinians and establish global newspapers. Claims such as these are a perverse reiteration of the blood libel, the persistent canard that existed in Europe throughout the Middle Ages and beyond, that Jews kidnap non-Jewish children to use their blood for matzah. And perhaps most damning is the claim of apartheid that is lobbed at the Jewish state. Language adopted by those who support the boycott, divest, and sanction movement, a movement that calls for the elimination of the Jewish state. Israel is not an apartheid state. United Nations investigators, human rights groups, the United States, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and other countries and organizations reject the comparison. Critics argue that the comparison is factually and morally inaccurate and intended to delegitimize Israel, and that Israel cannot be an apartheid state because its Arab citizens are represented in the government and in leadership positions. Even the current ruling coalition of Israel has within it Arab-Israeli political parties. There have been Arab judges on the Supreme Court of Israel and Arab involvement in every aspect of society. But Israel, within a sea of nations who are all at best imperfect, is singled out. And we might think that being American Jews sitting across the sea from our brothers and sisters in Israel might remove us from the impact of these lies and slanders. But we feel the effects. Our children feel the effects. The most problematic venue for mistruth and slander has become our colleges. A few years ago, there was a powerful exchange that took place when the reporter and academic Yossi Klein Halevi was speaking at DePaul University. A student asked why humanizing Zionists was acceptable, and compared that to asking Black Americans to humanize members of the KKK. I want you to hear Yossi Klein Halevi's answer in full because it's an important one. And here's what he said. Those who traffic in that kind of language are on very thin ice. My understanding of anti-Semitism is the following. Anti-Semitism is not simply hating the Jew as other. Anti-Semitism works a bit differently. What anti-Semitism does is turn the Jews into the symbol of whatever it is that a given civilization defines as its most loathsome qualities. And so for Christianity before the Holocaust and before Vatican II, the Jew was the Christ killer. Under communism, the Jew was the capitalist. Under Nazism, the Jew was the race polluter. And now we live in a different civilization. Now we live in a civilization where the most loathsome qualities are racism, colonialism, and apartheid. And lo and behold, the greatest offender in the world today, with all of the beautiful countries of the world, is the Jewish state. The Jewish state becomes the symbol of genocidal, racist, apartheid states. An Israeli political philosopher named Yaakov Talman once put it this way: the state of the Jews has become the Jew of the states. What that means to me is criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitism. Criticism of Israel's existence, denying Israel the right to exist, calling Israel the Zionist entity, that is anti-Semitism. That is a classical continuity of thousands of years of symbolizing the Jew. So using that kind of language places you in very uncomfortable company. That kind of language today can come from the far left, it can come from white supremacists of the far right, it can come from Islamist extremists, it can come from many sources. But all of those groups converge on one idea: the Jew remains humanity's great problem. It's a frightening situation for our students on campuses who are confronted and scapegoated on a regular basis. This year at the University of Wisconsin, on the first day of school, our students were greeted with chalk messages written on the sidewalks calling Jewish student groups racist and genocidal and accusing them of having blood on their hands. And this isn't simply a one-off. On campus after campus, there is a movement to prevent speakers, artists, teachers, organizations, and individuals from expressing their opinions simply because they might self-identify as Zionist. Scapegoated and excluded based on their belief that Israel, the sole Jewish state in the world, has a right to exist. And these aren't simply criticisms of a policy or event. This is an attempt to delegitimize an entire nation. And some may say that this is not anti-Semitic. And to them I say, we cannot possibly ignore the link that every Jewish person has with the land of Israel, for we are the Jews. Even the etymology of our name, Jews, comes from the word Judeans, or in Hebrew, Yehudi, denoting the people of the kingdom of Judea. Our Siddur and our Machzor uses the word Israel, Zion, or Jerusalem with such frequency that only God is mentioned more. Every Passover, for 2 millennia, we wandering Jews, forced far from the land of our national origin, turned our eyes to Zion and said, "Next year in Jerusalem." Not simply as a hopeful consolation to beat back the pain of lived experience amidst a violently hostile world, but as a promise that we made to each other amidst ghetto and shtetl, pogrom and massacre, a promise that we would return and once again achieve self-determination upon the land of our inception. Through the fires of the Shoah and amidst the displaced person camps of Europe, from afar in America, in Western countries in the former Soviet Union, in the kibbutzim and settlements of the land of Israel itself, we sang and still sing these words: as long as the Jewish spirit is yearning deep in the heart, with eyes turned towards the east, looking toward Zion, then our hope, the 2,000-year-old hope, will not be lost, to be a free people in our land, the land of Zion and Jerusalem. Hatikva, the hope, to deny the Jewish people the right to self-determination, to threaten to eliminate the only state for the Jews, the only Jewish state in the world, is not merely anti-Zionist, it is indeed anti-Semitic. For what other nation in the world has its very existence and legitimacy questioned on such a regular basis? And even if we wanted to separate Judaism from the land of its birth and the land that bears its name, we could not. We lived an example of this just a few years ago on this very holy day of Yom Kippur, when we arrived to the synagogue only to find protesters on Santa Monica Boulevard protesting the state of Israel. They stood outside our synagogue that day with their signs, their harassing slogans on Yom Kippur, not because we are an embassy or a consulate, but because we are Jews. They didn't choose to protest in Israel supporting church on Christmas Eve or Easter, for that would have been a bridge too far. But a synagogue on Yom Kippur was fair game because, after all, we are the Jews. And we continue to walk into the synagogue with dignity and are not afraid also because we are the Jews. It should not have been surprising to us, for we know and must always live the aphorism, Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh. All Israel is responsible one for the other. And this is a truth that we must live by, just as this is a truth that has been held over our heads by those who would do us harm. All Israel is responsible one for the other, whether we like it or not. That is the truth. But as frightening as it might be, we must never fear the truth. And here's the truth about Israel. It might shock you. Israel is imperfect. America is imperfect too. And what's more, each of us is also imperfect. But there's not a thing or a person in this world that I have loved that has not also been imperfect. And even Lauren gave me permission to say that. And I love Lauren. And I also love Israel. So what must we do? We must be rodef emet, pursuers of the truth, when that truth is favorable to the state of Israel and even when it is not. We must confront hard truths wherever they may be and whenever they may come, in moments that Israel lives up to the best traditions of our moral beliefs and moments when it does not. And each of your voices are important ones, and I'm asking you to lift them up as truth seekers and truth speakers. Israel holds up to scrutiny. Our history in that land is absolute. When we reach into the soil, we find the remains of our foundation, the symbols of our nationhood emerging from the covering sands of history. We find our past emerging from the soil, and then amidst the blossoming of the fruit trees that grow even in the heart of the desert, and the blossoming of young voices in the heart of the Gan, the kindergarten, singing in our ancient tongue, we find our future. Every year I ask you to buy an Israel bond, and you still can this year. Information is on the table at the back of Clearfield Hall. It isn't much to do and can be purchased for as little as $36. But more important, I'm asking you to increase your bonds, your connections with the people and the state of Israel. Learn more about Israel. I'll be teaching a class about the portrayal of Israel in the media, and you can watch for the emails in order to sign up. We'll continue to offer opportunities to learn about Israel and our relationship with it throughout the year. Invest and contribute to ARTSA, the Association of Reformed Zionists of America, and support our sister congregations in Israel that continue to fight for religious pluralism, equality, and Reformed Jewish values that we hold dear within Israeli society. And information is on our back tables in Clearfield as well. Visit Israel. There is no greater investment in the bond between yourself and Israel that you can make than by walking the land and meeting the people, eating the food and experiencing the culture, eating the food, and therefore allowing the land to walk through your heart. Increase your interactions with Israelis, even here in Wisconsin. Meet with our shlichim, our shinshiniyot, the emissaries from Israel that come and spend time with our communities. Talk to your children about Israel. Talk about your hopes for that land, your experiences with it, even if that conversation includes your struggles with it. Struggle is inherent even in the word Israel. For Israel means one who struggles with the divine, and struggle is inherent in any relationship. But do not ignore Israel or pretend it away, for we are linked together, and that bond that exists between us must remain steadfast and strong. And when Israel is slandered, as it so often has been and often will be. Raise your voice with what you know to be true. Raise it with your friends and those with whom you strive. Raise it with your representatives and those who have influence. Throughout our history, we have seen what slander, conspiracy, canards, and mistruths have wrought, especially when they are met with deafening silence. The earth is filled with the blood of humanity whose lives were snuffed out by the will of those who spread falsehood with piercing cuts of tongue or swords. We live in a world in which mistruths run rampant, and our tolerance for it is much too high. We see falsehood when we check out of grocery stores and cast our eyes upon the headlines of rags that earn their keep by making up stories about real people. We listen to the punditry that now occurs around the clock at the click of a button. Even leaders of nations abuse the truth for their morally repugnant aims. I paused just this past Friday morning, and listened to the speech of Vladimir Putin as he annexed nearly 20% of Ukraine, based on clearly fraudulent referenda taken at gunpoint, a part of a war with a premise built on lies. I've bristled as we've observed the Iranian government lie plainly and without remorse in the face of its own people and the world after what was clearly the murder of Mahsa Amini for wearing her hijab in a way that the authorities felt was not modest enough, and then blaming the protests on the United States and Israel. All this while hearing the president of Iran address the General Assembly of the United Nations after publicly questioning the accuracy of the Holocaust. When we get used to the lies that spew forth and then accept them as the normal course of our lives, it emboldens the liars who never stop with just one lie. Conspiracy theories and the ability to spread false truths today are merely the continuity of the canards that hounded our people yesterday and still into the present. In our world, truth is a commodity to which we must cling for our dear lives. We must be courageous in our desire to lift it up to the light of day. And that means the truth about Israel or America or even ourselves. And let us build a shield of truth to guard our future. When we stand together this Yom Kippur and thump our chests as we recite Al-Chet, the sins of humanity, so prevalent in our days, let us pay special attention to the sins related to the failures of truth. Al-Chet Shechatanu, for the sins we've committed against you for speaking slander. Al-Chet Shechatanu, for the sins we've committed against you for words not spoken. Al-Chet Shechatanu, for the sins we've committed against you for not seeking or speaking the truth. Ve'al kulam Eloah Selichot, slach lanu, echal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these sins, O God, forgive us, pardon us, and grant us atonement. To share in a truth is to share in a bond. May the bonds that exist between all humanity be ever strengthened. And this year, 5783, marking also the 75th anniversary of the establishment of the State of Israel, may we be secure in our willingness to honestly and with integrity stand for that which we believe to be true. May that be our word. May that be our bond. Ken Yehi Ratzon. And may that be our will. Gomar Chatima Tova, everyone.
I invite you to please turn to page 288. A prayer for the state of Israel by Mayor Finkelstein on the West Coast. Avinu shebashamayim, tzur Yisrael v'goalo, barech et medinat Yisrael, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן, הגן עליה, בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה, סוכת שלומך. ושלח אורך והמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויוצאיה, ותקנם בעצה טובה, בעצה טובה מלפניך. Bless our land with peace, O God, and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen. Amen. Avinu שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו. הגן עליה, בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה, סוכת שלומך. ונאמר אמן, ונאמר Amen. Amen.
Amen. We turn now to page 116. It's a great joy to call upon Alta Mourner and Jeff Peck, bring tremendous light to our community and our congregation, to have the honor of opening up our ark doors. We rise now as we turn to the words of Aleinu, page 160.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Particularly as we hear the melodies of the holidays, we gather together in our homes, light candles, kibbutz among ourselves, Our hearts and our minds often turn to those who have entered into life eternal. We still feel their presence with us, particularly in moments such as these, when we gather together. There are many dear people that we commemorate. We think of those who've passed during the period of Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period. We think of Harriet Arnold, Millicent Benfield, Gerald Gilbert, Shirley Graham, Jerry Kramer, Sheldon Salzberg, and Michael Schumann. If there are names that should be added to this list or names that should be pronounced differently than I did, if you're commemorating the yahrzeit of a loved one, please do call that name out loud as I look in your direction. There's a power in calling out the names of our loved ones. In addition to the names of our loved ones, so too do we think of all those who've died due to war and or terrorism, all those who died in defense of this nation and allied nations' ideals. We think of all those who have died due to this terrible virus that has stricken our nation and our globe, as well as all those who have died due to the virus of racism and xenophobia. In addition to those names, too, we think of all those who perished during the Holocaust. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. The Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, can be found on page 122. We rise together as one community as we recite these sacred words together. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach Yeruteh v'amlich malchuteh. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'yemru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulamei amaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudusha brichu. Le'ela ul'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say,
Amen.
We are now going to turn to our closing hymn for this Yom Kippur Eve. On page 127, we turn to Hashivenu. One quick announcement, one difficult truth. Services will be at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Expect to see you all there. We turn to Hashivenu, page 127.
We sing together. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai elecha, v'nashuva, v'nashuva. Kaddish, Kaddish, Yameinu kekedem.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai elecha.
Chatima Tova, everyone. May be inscribed for a sweet, happy, and healthy new year.
It's way past my bedtime. Yeah. Right. We're gonna come visit